This is the Randi Rhodes Show on 960 KNEW and online at 960KNEW.com.
The smell of BS wafting across the summer wind. It's BS News. Well, this is the first day of summer 2013, and away we go. Dateline, Bagger Advance. This week saw the biggest Tea Party rally in Washington since 2010. So many of the nation's angry old farts were there that Applebee's restaurants throughout the country reported a shortage of old folks eating dinner at 4:30 and complaining about the colored waitress. Dateline, Borderline. An immigration reform bill may have been saved by an amendment that doubles the number of Border Patrol agents at a cost of $30 billion. If you think that's a lot of money, wait until you see how much you have to pay for landscaping in 10 years. Dateline, self-pleasure. A Republican congressman this week proposed a ban on abortion after 20 weeks by claiming that fetuses as young as 15 weeks masturbate. Most doctors don't believe that to be true because if they did, they would never take an ultrasound without knocking first. You know. Dateline, Barefoot and Time Warped. This week, Georgia Congressman Phil Gingrey called for young children to be taught traditional gender roles in school. Just another part of the Republican plan to prepare our young people for the 19th century. Dateline, Cooked. A lawsuit deposition shows that celebrity chef Paula Deen routinely used the N-word. Now, I've never been inside Paula Deen's pantry, but something tells me that she makes the brown sugar sit on the back of the shelf. And finally, Dateline Contagion. The American Medical Association this week declared that obesity is a disease. Health officials immediately began plans to quarantine the home of Rush Limbaugh. Bump! We're closing in on a toast to summer. It's BS News for Friday. Have a great weekend.
My listeners are not very forgiving. The Paula Deen scandal, which came from a lawsuit that a Lisa Jackson brought against Paula Deen and her brother Earl Bubba for harassment at work, produced depositions. And in that deposition, Paula Deen was asked a straightforward question: have you ever used or do you use the N-word? And she blithely replied, yes, of course. And for this, Paula Deen is on trial. I mean, there is a legitimate case that is being brought against her by a former employee who says, that she worked there for a long time and she had gone as far as she could go, apparently. And there's something, about the culture of the company that prohibited her from moving even further after all these years of service. And so she sued. Now, I don't know if the claims hold water. I don't know if they're true or untrue, but it did produce this deposition that mysteriously ended up online. I don't know. I have a sneaking feeling that Booz Allen or some defense contractor, leaked it so that we would stop talking about them. Just kidding. But, I got to say, does Paula Deen have juvenile, stunted, Southern views that like-minded people around her let her think are okay and that they're not hurtful and that this word isn't a loaded, disgusting word that sears people's souls to the core? But what I'm saying is I think that she holds a very juvenile, stunted view of human beings, that she's lived in a racially fraught portion of the country that still flies a Confederate flag and thinks that's okay, that feels that they've lost something because they're not allowed to own human beings anymore.